So hello my YouTube friends and family. So today I'm going to do a repeat of a friend who made potato soup, which is very Frequency, and I will link her potato soup recipe below so you guys could go check it out. She peels about 5 pounds of red potatoes and she cuts them with the skin on them in little chunks that look like about like this with the skin on them. You will see the skins on mine too. Okay. She puts them in boiling water and she cuts up carrots, which instead of cutting up baby sized carrots, I actually bought a bag of the shredded. I cheated because I didn't want to cut them up. And then she puts a stick of butter in a skillet. And, well, she does, I think, non-salted. And then you'll see it all on her recipe. But I used my butter, which is Blue Bonnet, which probably does have salt. And then once I did that, I stuck in some green peppers, some celery. I got a great big purple onion and cut it up and cooked it in it and let that all caramelize. And I cut the celery up in little pieces. So once you do that, you can make the gravy off of her site. But I'm going to add something a little different because this is my husband's preference. He's a meat eater. So what I'm going to do is, you know, you can do that for somebody who's not a meat eater. You can make it like she makes it, but I'm going to add a little bit of something else. I'm going to put a little bit of butter in the skillet again. This time a little skillet. And you got to make the gravy the way she makes it. I would say it's just a tad bit less than a cup of flour though, because mine started to get really bad. And I had to like add extra butter to get it to work out. But anyways, this is what my soup turned out to look like. And I hope Frequent Fairy's proud because it turned out really good with the shredded carrots and the celery and all the goodies. The onions and everything is in here. And look at that. It is amazing, so you guys can see. I only had one color carrot though. She had a few colors. So now what I'm going to do, since I have that done, and I did add seasonings. My seasonings, because I'm out of Italian spice, was the Mrs. Dash. I tend to like this because it's salt-free. Since I add salt, this is the original blend, and it's got a mixture of everything. And then another one I like of hers is the onion and herb. You can get these at Walmart. So on this skillet, I'm just going to take a little bit of butter and let it melt. And I don't have to worry about carrots falling in my burners because I got the flat top oven, which I really love. I don't miss burners. I used to do that all the time. This is just something I'm going to add to my soup. And I'm actually going to dedicate this video to her because I've always wanted to make potato soup. And vegetable soup is another conquest. I have never made these. So this is my first time. The only soups I have done is chili. And like noodle soup. I've made dumplings. But I've never done this. We just always either bought it frozen or ordered out. Let me get the wrapper off of these. I fight with the wrapper on this food more than anything. So what I'm going to do is, my husband likes kielbasa. So I'm going to cut this up into the skillet, and this is going to be added to the soup. Just because that's what he likes. He likes the meat in his soup. So I'm just going to cook this up. Gravy, the gravy part I think is the hardest on making this particular soup. Once you get the gravy down, you're good. But I was surprised. The red potatoes were really cooked fast. Sometimes I buy a regular Idaho, and sometimes I buy the red, but this was really good. And I have actually watched her video like 3 times to make sure I was doing this right. And I'll probably, because there's only the 2 of us, I'll probably end up sharing my soup with one of my kids. Or both. Because I'm going to have enough to last. That is one huge pan. Set this in the skillet. So this is going to make quite a bit. I didn't add like a real lot of salt when I made this, so this will kind of add a little touch more of salt because kielbasa is salty. So this is going to be like my little twist on it. Being that it's such a big pan, I'm going to do 2. Let's get to listen to it sizzle. So I think this recipe is really great because it can appease the meaters and it can appease the non-meaters. Eaters, the non-meat eaters. All the vegetables and everything in there is really fresh. My parents used to do gardening too, and we had a little one where we used to live. We need to actually start gardening some again because I do miss fresh vegetables. Like, we have a farmer's market here, but we're just growing it and helping. Should have put my hair thingy on my face. This is why I always wear those hair pull back things, because my hair keeps getting in my face. And one of these days I'm going to teach you guys my shrimp recipe. It is really good. My husband told me he's eaten in a lot of places where they made shrimp and he's never tasted shrimp like mine. He said even Texas Roadhouse's shrimp didn't beat mine. That's a compliment. I I definitely inherited my mom's green thumb because she can cook too, but I definitely did not inherit, I mean, her cooking abilities, but I didn't inherit her green thumb. I can't seem to keep plants alive in my house. But I thank God I inherited her cooking skills. Yes, that piece hit the floor. And it will go in the garbage. Alright. Let me wash my hands. Okay, so you can see what I'm doing. There's little pieces on the skillet. I'm going to wait for this to cook up a little bit. But I wanted to share this recipe with you guys. And the purple onion I cut up. I didn't cut up in wee little pieces. I kind of left it a little chunky like she did. And I think it was like, I used skim milk instead of 2%. I used about 3 cups of skim milk and a little under a half a cup, or a cup of flour. And the way she does it is correct. I mean, that's how my mom actually taught me to make gravy, is you put your butter, a stick of butter in and let it melt. And then, of course, my mom added a little bit of grease, but that was back in the day. I only did butter this time. And you keep stirring it until it turns like, you add just a little bit of flour once it's melted and you see the butter sizzling a little bit, bubbles. You put a little bit of flour at a time and you keep stirring it, and it'll turn into like a sticky paste almost, like a pie crust paste. And it has this smell. And once it gets to this certain smell that you smell, then you start adding the milk to it. And what that smell is like, it's like the gravy cooking. It's the flour like almost burning, but it's not burning. And there's like a particular scent. And that's how much darker it'll turn. But when you start adding the milk to it little by little, it'll get like creamy, and then it feels like, you know, you keep stirring it and stirring it and stirring it. It's all about the texture and how it feels. And it'll get almost creamy, almost like a wet pudding. She actually explained that part better in her video. But my mom made gravy. She used butter, grease, and then she would put water in it. I don't think she used milk. So this was a little different for me. But it was fun. Because, I mean, she made me hungry. I was watching her video and I was like, oh, for 3 days I would like crave this potato soup because I've always wanted to try it anyways. And this kind of meat's already pre-cooked, but I let it cook for about, I don't know, maybe 7 minutes or so. And then once you do, you can dump this into the soup too. And because the butter also has this flavoring, it'll give it a little bit more salt. I always taste food before I actually salt and pepper. I mean, like, my husband will dump it on before he tastes it. I'm like, one of these days you're going to regret that. It's better to taste to know what people put in their food so you don't get too over salty. And I do have sea salt, which I do like. I use regular this time though, because I forgot I had this. But we're trying to switch. We're trying to use up what we had and go to the sea salt. So this is about done. Pretty much. This is what it looks like. And I'm going to dump it into the soup. And then once I get it into the soup, I'm going to take this. And I'm just going to take and scoop it to where it gets covered by the potatoes and everything. And it actually gets mixed down into the pan. And you definitely will need a big pan to do this. But you know, with bigger families, this is actually a practical size because I think she's a family of 4. That's what we were when our kids were little. So it is kind of hard for me to just cooking for 2. But that's okay because I can still share my food, which I do quite a bit. I think this is the biggest pot of soup I've ever made. My other pan's more of a medium. And look at all that scrumptiousness. Look at that. I mean, that looks so good. So thank you, Fairy Frequency, for this wonderful recipe and a challenge for me to try. And with that, you guys have a great night, and I hope you enjoyed this. And go check out her channel, which I will link below. Bye. Mwah.